What's up, everybody? It's your boy Georgia Brand Brooks. You follow me on Facebook at Georgia Brand Brooks. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Georgia Brand Brooks, and we chop it up. Real quick, I just want to share a thought on something that's I know the Trayvon Martin situation is old. It's an old case. It happened some time ago, but it will always be brought up, so it's relevant to the subject matter of if Trayvon Martin was a thug. A lot of people don't understand is this: white people who are racist, the word thug is just a code word for black people. And it does not matter. You could be an educated black person, you could be a cop, you could be a successful black person. They use the term thug to describe black people. And the reason why they call Trayvon Martin a thug is because, for one, he was on an honor roll. For two, he had no criminal record. And they cannot really criminalize him like that. So what they do is they say, oh, Trayvon Martin was in a gang and he was throwing up gang signs and stuff like that. And they ignore the racism of George Zimmerman. Because if you look at the case was racially motivated because if you look at George Zimmerman tweets, he's on Twitter saying all kind of racial epithets. He's bragging about the death his victim. George Zimmerman was a psychotic psychopath, a racist psychopath. But the white supremacists, they don't want to. A black child to them is not valuable anyway. They don't care. That's why they call him a thug. We're thugs anyway, no matter the level of success that we have. We're thugs. They will call our children thugs. Okay? They call our children thugs. They call in a child a thug, a 17-year-old child. Trayvon Martin was a child. And George Zimmerman was a grown-ass man. And people want to believe that George Zimmerman was the aggressive, Trayvon Martin was the aggressive one. But George Zimmerman was the one with the gun. And he was not a cop. And he was warned before not to engage in contact with this young man. And he did so anyway. So who's defiant towards authority? But none of this stuff really relevant to the racists because it does not matter. They were always trying to find a way to justify their racism. No matter what it is. That's why we're thugs. And that's why Trayvon Martin is a thug. He's a 17-year-old kid. He was a 17-year-old kid, honor roll student. And they talking about, because of his upbringing and shit like that. We didn't know these people. We didn't know the Martin family personally. No, you see what I'm saying? Till this case happened. So none of the racists, saying that his upbringing made him a thug. What the fuck that's supposed to mean? What are you talking about? The kid was on the honor roll. The kid, they bring up him being suspended from school, and the little mischief he had going on in school and shit like that. But we all been kids. I was a kid. I did stupid stuff in school, but all that's irrelevant to the situation, to what happened that night. A grown man got into it with a child, because that's what he was. Trayvon Martin was a child. He wasn't a thug. He was a child. He was 17 years old. That's a child. And then the racist minds is so sick. Their mindset is so sick. They would justify a grown man killing a child. Now, if it was a white boy, 17 years old, it would be so much remorse and tears. And the white boy wouldn't even be a thug. But because it's a black child, a black life, he's a thug. And I know this case is old, but we have to understand how the racists think and how white supremacy works. And white supremacist mentality is that all black people are thugs. No matter how much money you got, no matter what level of education you have, you guys are thugs. That's what they believe. That's why they say the word over and over. Thugs. They even I see somebody call LeBron James a thug. He's a multi-million-dollar basketball player, but he's a thug. They call Richard Sherman a thug. So these are just code words that they use, And a lot of people, us as a community, we have to start understanding how white supremacy works, and we have to start understanding how the level of code of conduct that they have. Trayvon Martin wasn't a thug. And we're going to keep hearing them bring up situations where, it could be a situation where like Martin Tritham, Mike Brown was a thug. It doesn't matter. Tamir Rice was a thug, even though he was just 12 years old. It doesn't matter. To them, he's a thug. It doesn't matter. Our children to them are thugs. It doesn't matter. No matter how good you raise them, anything like that, they're thugs. And this is just the way the racists think. And I really do wish somebody, I hope George Zimmerman one day get caught up with the law and justice should prevail for the Martin family. So if you want to comment, you can comment. Follow me on Facebook, George Aaron Brooks. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, George Aaron Brooks. I'm out.